Welcome back, everybody, to the latest episode in our podcast series. In today's episode, we're able to sit down with Meli, who's a new sales intern here at REQ Consulting in the Boston area, and she's been recruiting businesses for PassPass. We were able to sit down and talk to her a little bit about her experience with that, how everything's been going, and let's kind of dive into that conversation. So I know you're out in Boston. Are you from Boston? Are you there for school?
Yeah, so I go to MIT, so I'm just here for school, but I'm from New York.
And so how did you kind of come across this position, like with REQ?
Yeah, there was a posting on Handshake. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but like a lot of colleges use it for job posting. So I was looking to pick up some more work this summer just because I'm working at a nonprofit, but it's not super busy. So I thought I'd, apply for this.
Mhm. And did you have any background in sales like pre heading into this position?
Not in sales, but I was interested in consulting because the work I'm doing this summer is kind of tangential to that. And so I was interested in learning more about that and more of like REQ as a whole. I wasn't familiar with like PassPass and the sales I was doing there. But I was interested in like the broader consulting industry.
And so how's kind of that first step into the sales and into the consulting industry been for you?
Yeah, I mean it's good. I think like Alex has been really great in terms of like support. She seems to be like super experienced and talking to Greg is always great as well. So it's been interesting. I think that like interfacing with clients and having to be the person that they're asking all the questions to is kind of daunting. I think that I don't have all the answers and sometimes I have to admit like, okay, let me get back to you on that one. But still like remaining poised, remaining confident, is really important for making sure that you don't lose a potential client.
hmm And so how is you talked about not having all the answers. Are you just constantly in communication with like Alex and Greg trying to get those answers?
Usually when we have a client call, Alex is on the call with me.
Mhm.
We've had two this week so far. So we've talked with people like restaurant owners directly about not only PassPass but also like our services.
Mhm.
So that's been nice, and Alex has been able to jump in there and answer anything that I can't. But she's like, you can lead and start with the pitch. So that's been
Yeah,
nice to
that's
take on
awesome.
that responsibility. Yeah, for sure.
Um, so how have you kind of gone about recruiting the businesses? Are you walking into places? Are you calling? How are you kind of doing that?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my Outlook
That's
notification came
totally
on,
good.
but yeah, I don't usually go in person. I think Dennis and Alex are pounding the pavement right now.
Mhm.
Since I think it's a little slower during July, I think PassPass is looking to really ramp up in August. So I think August will be more of like in-person activities, but I've been doing some emailing, and then usually we'll hop on a Google Meet and chat more. But I mean, there's a ton of businesses local to my area, since I'm in Cambridge, so definitely like might have to go in person for them.
Are you, when you're doing the emails, are you sticking to the Cambridge area or are you kind of just doing all over Boston?
Yeah, so we have like a big database of like new openings from I think it goes back to June 2023. So we have like every month since June 2023 like more openings of businesses. So we've been just using the contact information in that spreadsheet and reaching out directly. Like Joshua has been in Korea, so I mean obviously he's not going in person. So Joshua and I have been kind of like splitting up that database and doing some client sourcing.
Yeah. And so how have those calls kind of been going? What's kind of the vibe you're getting when you're calling these different businesses, telling them about PassPass?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of businesses think it's like a scam because it sounds too good to be true because it's free to the business, and it like is could be another source of revenue for them, and it's just like not a huge name so far, so it's kind of hard to convince people to be like an early adopter because I mean if I owned a business I'd be like, oh, like I don't know, what if this fails, what if they steal my credit card information, like I would definitely be suspicious of it. So definitely like it's it takes some time to convince them that it's legit, and like show them all the materials and ensure like we're just trying to connect them with pass pass. I mean that's like the our biggest goal, like we're not gonna like we don't own pass pass, so it's really an interesting dynamic where they asking us, like I had someone ask us if this is a food delivery service or like if it's going to become turn into a delivery, and we're like I don't think so, but like I can't tell you for sure. Like, I don't know. So it's an interesting dynamic, but yeah, I think like just try to show them it's legit and explain the situation. Show them the evidence, the pitch deck, definitely helpful.
Is that so? I was gonna say, is that kind of how do you show that legitimacy? Is it the pitch deck that's kind of been working for that?
Yeah, I guess so. And just like knowing like Nashville, San Diego, Minneapolis, like those cities had already launched and were already huge successes, which I can't imagine being like in the first city. Like I can't imagine owning a business and someone coming up to me and being like, "Hey, join this app that like has no prior
Mhm.
success, but we think it's gonna work." So definitely like trying to show like records of past success and like telling stories about what is it? There's like a golf place in Nashville that signed up 40,000 members and now they make like an extra $10,000 a month. Like that's life-changing numbers. So for sure, definitely just referencing specific instances of success.
Yeah. Chance kind of talked, it was someone I talked to previously. He's through PassPass, but kind of does the same stuff. And he talked about how he was kind of leading with the free advertising and the free marketing, and that was kind of what was selling people. Have you seen that kind of
Oh, for sure.
similarly?
Yeah. No, I saw your interview with Chance, because Alex forwarded it to us and was
Mhm.
like, "Hey, maybe we'll have some insights from this interview." So yeah, I think like when I email someone, it's like here is a free marketing opportunity, but I also don't want it to sound like a scam and like super suspicious. So it's like it's a fine line between saying like this is a really cool opportunity, like we're not asking for your credit card information, like we're really like just trying to help out small businesses. So it's a fine line between like saying that we want to help you and it's free and then like sounding like a complete scam. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And then like even when we're reaching out, like I talked to Alex about this when we were first discussing like sourcing clients, and she kind of had this email draft that didn't really lead with PassPass. Like it was more general, like REQ, like we can help you with recruiting, we can help you with retention, etc. We can help you with Wow Health. Like there were lots of different options, and I was like, I feel like we should just start with PassPass because like that's it's free, and we can be like, oh, we also have these other services. So we have like a flyer that has kind of like it's like a one pager with all our services. But I think that like leading with PassPass and being like this is what you're a good fit for is like really, really powerful.
Mhm. And so how hard has it kind of been to convince businesses? I know you talked about like, they kind of not trying to sound like a scam.
Mhm.
Has it been hard to really convince businesses of that, or once you kind of show them those type of things, is it just kind of been smooth sailing?
Yeah, so well we've had two client calls so far and one of them like she signed up while she was still on the call with us,
Mhm.
which is like great. Because I mean that's the end goal to close the customer and like I don't want to say pass them on to PassPass, but like refer them to PassPass. But another one, he owns like a couple different businesses, so he owns like a waffle shop and then like a coffee shop. And he was like, okay, like can I have some more information and then I'll review it and sign up. So we're still waiting to close on that customer as well. But yeah, no, I think it's been interesting to see like what kinds of questions people have because they both ask different questions.
Mhm.
Um and again like they're like what's the catch? But yeah, I mean I think it's been good so far.
Yeah. How do so balancing that line between the free marketing and not sounding like a scam seems like kind of the big thing in your emails. How do you kind of tried to not sound like the scam almost?
Yeah, I mean I think it helps like well, I don't want to say that a flyer makes it legit,
Mhm.
but like the flyer helps, I guess, just because we made some marketing materials with like REQ branded and like PassPass branded, etc. And then we also like I'll CC Alex on the email, so it's not just like me being like this like
Mhm.
suspicious one person, like I'm saying that I run this whole business, like I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll CC Alex and then yeah, I mean, I lead with PassPass, and you gotta like personalize the email a little. You gotta say like, "Oh, hello, blank name," and then like, your company is a great fit. Like, you can't make it too general. So I think like what Joshua has been trying to do, he's been saying that he's trying to like do a little more research on each company before sending the email, maybe finding like some kind of connection. Um, so yeah, like I think that the initial email is really just about like, hey, can you give us 20 minutes of your time to chat? And I mean, it's been working pretty well so far, but always looking for more.
Hmm. And that importance of that first email, was that something you knew kind of pre coming into this job, or is that something you've kind of learned like since kind of taking on this sales position?
Yeah, I guess it's just like hard to get a hold of people nowadays. Like, I mean, Greg was like, Greg wanted us to just call at people all day, and I was kind of like, call? Like, I feel I talked to Alex about this, and I feel like if I was sitting around and I got a call from someone trying to sell me something, I'd be like, I'm in the middle of my day, like I'm hanging up. I don't know what this scam is, like please go away. So I think like an email is kind of like more of a soft launch, like it's a little easier to just have them read it on their own time. I mean, it's of course it's easy for them to just like mark it as spam and like delete. But I think that it's like it's just nice to be able to like attach more information. And I think the email outreach is like a good way to start the conversation. And then even like just following up within a week or like even going in person in a couple days. Alex, we were in contact with someone over email and she went in person and like dropped off a flyer. So definitely like options there. Like I
Mhm.
think email opens up lots of avenues to go down.
Yeah. And have you seen kind of with the email, them getting back to you more often, doing it through email that way?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked much with Dennis about his success in going in person.
Mhm.
I mean, Chance, like you said, or you probably heard in his interview, he closes like tons of businesses per hour, even, which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think like it's been pretty successful. I don't want to say like our margins of like emails sent out versus responded versus closed, like that's not optimal. But we've also only been at this for like a week or two. So ideally we can make it we can improve those numbers in the coming weeks, especially by like following up with a second email or calling or going in person. So I think we can improve them in the coming weeks for sure.
Mhm. Um, and so you kind of talked about not having a ton of like sales experience coming in. For people that are kind of similar to you, has there been any like crazy hurdles or anything that you've kind of learned doing it, or anything that anyone should know kind of coming in?
Yeah, I think like confidence is a big thing. Just being able to like jump right in. I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but you do definitely have to just like, you know, swallow any doubts.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I remember joining my first call with like Greg and all the other interns, and I was like, what is going on? Like, what is wow hell? What is pass? I was like, what is going on? So I was just kind of like smiling and nodding.
Mhm.
Um, which I mean, I feel like that can be true for a lot of aspects of life. But I think that I had a one-on-one with Alex where we really like demystified some things, like made a direct plan of attack, which was great. I think that like it's awesome that Greg and Alex are so like within reach. Like it's really easy to contact both of them. And I think Alex did the same thing with Dennis. Like she had lunch with him last week or something. So it's just been great. Like I think it's been really easy to communicate with people like higher up and just understand what the goals are and where you can pitch in. So
Mhm.
yeah, just like being ready to learn, being ready to yeah,
Yeah.
being ready to be active.
Is that confidence something you've had before? Or is that, like you said, is that just purely fake it till you make it?
Um, I mean, I guess I think the confidence and fake it till you make it thing go hand in hand. Like
Mhm.
personally, when I mean, like sometimes I'm sitting in like a lecture hall and I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going on in here, but I can't just like, I don't know, like I have no option but to like sit there and like trust that I'm gonna figure it out later. Um, so I think that like jumping in here into like an organization that it's not really a super like set intern program that has a lot of structure because it's kind of like the day like let take what comes, I guess, with each day. So it's like it's really interesting. You just kind of like you hit the ground running. And like just being able to like fake confidence, I guess, like when you're in a client call for the first time and you're like you have to pretend that like you know everything about PassPass. Is just like a good way. It's just a good like quality for I guess a salesperson to have. Um and like I guess in this position it's been really helpful to be able to develop that skill because I think that like I mean I don't think that I'm super shy but I guess this is new territory in terms of trying to like pitch an idea to someone else that I didn't even like come up with.
Hmm. And so my kind of role too is it's less structured. How has that kind of worked for you with not having as much structure, especially in a role where you're kind of tasked with whatever you think to do is kind of the right plan of action. So how has that kind of been for you?
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely like that. I guess I have kind of a bigger say in my day to day. It's been really great to just like wake up and say like I'm gonna do this today, or just like be able to, I don't want to say push back,
Hmm.
but just be able to communicate back and forth with like Alex, Joshua, Dennis. Like we have a weekly meeting and we can chat and say like, okay, what's the plan this week? Like what do we think is best here? I mean, we like revised like an REQ poster together and said like, oh well, I can be like, oh, I don't think that I like that, like maybe we should move this around, which sounds like small, but I mean in the grand scheme of things, like this is the thing we're sending out to companies, so it's like it's an important thing. But in terms of like not having as much structure, I do like the flexibility. Like since I am working another job this summer, it's been great to just be able to like kind of do both together, and be able to make time for both depending on the day. So it is like I know I remember like Dennis started last week, he was texting and being like, what do I do right now? And it's like it's not like a 9 to 5. Like you're not gonna like do stuff specifically at certain hours. So yeah, I mean I really like the flexibility, but I'm sure it's different for everyone.
Hmm. And that day to day is different, I know, but how much would you say you're spending time wise sending out these emails, kind of trying to reach out to businesses?
Yeah, so I think company sourcing takes up like the majority of my time. I would say like sorry if you can hear that alarm going off, but I don't know. I'd say like a couple hours a day for sure. I mean, we have like our meetings Monday, Wednesday, Friday with Greg. And then there's like the sale, then there's like the all intern call Monday, midday. So lots of like meetings, I guess, and like check-ins, which is great because I think that working remotely can be difficult for some people when it's like you just are kind of left out in the dust and you don't really have any, you don't even like talk to anyone. So it's been nice to just be able to like check in multiple times a week. But I think that besides meetings, like I spend like maybe about 2 hours a day working on company sourcing and contacting. And then like on top of that, there's like meetings for sure. But I think like Dennis might commit more time since he's like actually going out and about. So yeah, it definitely depends on like what you're doing in terms of like remote versus in-person, hybrid, etc.
Hmm. And then kind of my final question, I guess, kind of the corny one. If you could leave one piece of advice for people kind of stepping into the role similar to you, what's something maybe you've learned, something that someone's told you that's really kind of helped you succeed in this role recruiting businesses?
Sure. So I guess I kind of touched on it earlier about like the fake it till you make it thing. But I guess like I would say just be ready to ask questions and be ready to learn at every step of the way. I definitely didn't come into this role thinking I was any kind of expert. And I guess like it was really, I don't want to say humbling, but it was really inspiring to talk to Alex and like because she's just such like a presence. Like she's super energetic. And it's just been great like learning from her and understanding this kind of like her hospitality background because that's something that I really had was not familiar with. I didn't really understand that industry. So I think that it's been great to learn so much this summer, and I would definitely recommend to people to just be ready to ask questions and like be like a sponge, like soak up all you can from the people around you, um, even the other interns, and just like yeah, be happy to be here.
That's awesome. Thank you, Millie, so much for your time today.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for taking the time to interview me.